Hello, and welcome to Creature Club. It's a podcast all about the monsters of Dungeons and Dragons. My name is Daniel, and I am joined, as usual, by my good friend and co-host, Mikey DC.
What up? It's your boy, Mikey DC.
I thought I kind of brought like a nice BBC kind of Radio 4 vibe, and then you kind of, what up, it's your boy, into my Radio 4 studio.
Yeah, so. It's a great juxtaposition. I love it.
So this week we are talking all about demons again for the fourth week in a row. Fourth episode in a row. Anyway, not fourth week in a row, obviously.
And spoiler alert: it's not ending anytime soon.
Yeah, it is not. Oh, geez, there's like another. Oh my god, I keep turning pages and it's more demons. Okay, so we got a lot more work yet to do. But this week we are just talking about the Glabrezu, or the Glabrezu, or the Glabrezu, or Glabrezu, or
Glabrezu.
Yeah.
Glabrezu.
Yeah.
Glabrezu.
Yeah, exactly. So we're talking about that. Let's call him like a claw dog, because that feels accurate.
Yeah, claw dog sounds good. That's what he looks like in the Wikipedia page for him.
Yeah,
from like
he does.
His first
art.
His first appearance. He looks like, as I've mentioned to Daniel before we recorded this, he looks like a demon Goofy from the Disney
it's a very
multimedia
good reference.
Yeah, looks like a hula hoop in the top one, but I know that's his claw. But it looks like he's holding like a sonic ring that he's gonna chuck at you.
It's like this is his heartless form. And
yes,
instead of
like
shields,
in Kingdom Hearts,
he has
that's
claws.
coming out soon.
Yeah, he'll be in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Is this a good podcast? Us talking about a picture that our listeners can't see.
Is this good? Is this us referencing content? Kingdom Hearts, a game that I haven't played?
It's a good game, man. It's a good game series.
I played the second one. Weirdly, so I borrowed a PS2 off someone else, and I played the second one, but I never played the first one.
Well, the second one, I think, is better than the first one. Personally,
I really liked it.
Yeah, I know the story is a bit ridiculous and silly, but like the game's good.
Yeah, it's a really fun set of mechanics. But let's get back to the topic at hand.
Yeah, let's talk about what the people came to hear.
Yes. Okay, so will I start us with a breakdown of the Glabrezu's history in the game of Doan Janes and Draganes?
Yeah, let's hear it, man.
Cool. So, like a lot of the other demons, like sort of as we mentioned before, the demons were first listed in Eldritch Wizardry, which was the third ever supplement for Dungeons and Dragons. Back then, they were just listed as Type 3 demons. They weren't given a name until Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, which is pretty cool. And since then, they've appeared basically in every version of the game. Like a lot of demons, they've had that weird thing where they were Tanari for a while, between like second and third edition, where like they wanted to like make their own kind of multiverse, and there was like Tanari demons and then another kind of demon, but I don't know the difference, and they don't mention it in 5th edition, so I'm just going to ignore it for my own benefit.
Yeah, I think so. Best way doing, I'd say.
Yeah, they've appeared in a couple of different stories. They've appeared in the stories about Drizzt, who's that bad elf who's actually a good elf. And for some reason,
sorry, what was that again? Drizzt. Okay. Yep.
They show up in some of those books from time to time. And they've always, apparently, as far as I can tell, at least, they've always had the same characteristics. They've always been the kind of very classic Christian idea of the demon, the creature that sort of tempts you away from the light. And they are kind of compared to the succubus or the incubus in the sense that like a succubus will try to tempt you lustfully, whereas a Glabrezu will kind of promise you power and wealth and like, you know, change your life, change the fates and things like that. More sort of like less your like less, I guess, to quote the Wikipedia article, the Glabrezu does not offer pleasures of the flesh, which is a bad sentence.
Gross.
A bad sentence that, you know, shouldn't exist, but we have strayed so far from God's light that it doesn't matter anymore. But offers power, wealth, and respect undreamed of, even by the most ambitious person. They were able to do this historically in previous editions of the game by use of a wish spell. They had a really interesting ability to grant wishes on a very limited basis, and this is listed actually in the Pathfinder demon. The same creature, Glabrezu, it's got the same name. It's based on the same 3.5 creature. And it has an ability, it can cast the wish spell once per month. But importantly, it can only cast the wish spell to grant something to a mortal humanoid. So it can't wish for itself, it has to wish for someone else, which kind of represents it bargaining away power to other creatures.
Yeah. And I know it says here that it's, it says in the article here that you can only wish for something evil as well. And I guess that's going with where he wants you to, he's trying to lure you with like power and wealth and I guess some stuff that can be considered like selfish and evil. So, yeah, that's cool. That's a very cool way of doing him. So that's kind of his different thing is that he wants to lure you with that and then I guess kill you eventually when you are lured with money. Is that what he wants to do at the end? I think it's ambiguous.
It's like, you know, it's classic demon, like you make a deal with them and then they tempt you astray somehow. There's a pretty interesting kind of specific rule for this on the Pathfinder breakdown of the Glabrezu, which basically it's an ability called Treacherous Wishcraft, which is a little bit of a mouthful. And basically the rule is when they give you a wish, whenever they give you a wish, they have a list of 3 effects and they can automatically apply one to the person they're granting the wish to, and the person who's getting the wish gets no save. So the 3 listed here, I'll try to kind of translate them into 5th edition as I read them. One of them is very simple. The wisher becomes affected by the effects of Bestow Curse, heightened to 9th level. So in other words, a 9th level cast of Bestow Curse, which, you know, obviously means that only 9th level magic can get rid of it easily. Otherwise, it'll be very difficult. This one's really interesting. Mark of Treachery. The wisher gains a mark of treachery somewhere on their body. The mark appears as a fist-sized tattoo that combines the 7-pointed spiral sign of the abyss and the name of the creature that was granted the wish, but not the true name, importantly, because obviously a demon's true name gives you power over them. Written in abyssal. This mark can only be removed by miracle or wish, and only then if the caster makes a check to successfully remove it. As long as they are marked, the Glabrezu can see through you and communicate with you at any point. And that's really cool. And so they can see through you at all times, they can communicate with you telepathically at all times, and at any time they can demand you do something, which is like the gas or quest spell. Like you're compelled to fulfill this obligation. And if you don't, you are affected by a destruction spell. And then
what does that do, Daniel?
I'll double check, but I think we can guess by the name. So if you accept and do it, obviously, because you have to do it to fulfill the contract, then you lose the mark, so you're actually free of your obligation. But if you refuse, you suffer the effects of a destruction spell, which is
you explode.
God. Okay.
Please tell me you explode.
No, it's you take 10 points of damage per caster level. And then if you pass the fortitude saving throw, you points. Instead take 10 d6 of damage. So you either take so it's caster level 14, so you either take 140 damage or you pass the saving throw and then take 10d6 damage, and then 1 round later, the Glabrezu can immediately make the same demand of you. So yeah, a mark, and it specifically then calls out at the end, a mark of treachery persists through death and any resurrections that follow.
Jesus.
And then the final one is very straightforward: psychosis. The wisher immediately becomes chaotic evil and gains psychosis. So you go
cool
nuts immediately and become very evil.
I'll take that.
You'll take
I'll
that
go
one?
evil and have Professor X powers.
Okay, give me your character sheet.
No. I don't want you to touch my character sheet.
No, I don't want it. I just did a big wish.
No.
No.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool stuff.
Yeah, that's
I got
very
some
cool.
stuff here on 4E,
Yes.
but I'm gonna wait till we get later. Actually,
Yeah,
with that.
sorry.
It's actually it's character block stuff. So
Fair enough. Yeah, I was just looking at the breakdown of their ability to wish, and I just thought that was interesting.
level 23 elite brute. I wonder if I forgot how they did the levels with monsters for 4E, but that sounds like a high level.
Yeah, I don't know what level that's versus. I'll be honest, my knowledge of 4th edition is very limited.
I think actually you just put the levels together. Actually,
That would probably be the simplest way to do it.
The guys on your team. Whatever, I'll look into it. But that sounds about right. This sounds like a high level thing. Cool. So I'm going to read out what's on the book here.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Flavor
yeah.
text on the Glabrezu.
Sorry, we should have done that.
That's all right. I think we normally do the history first, and then we do this stuff second. I don't know. This show,
It's all jazz, baby.
it's all jazz. So, a Glabrezu takes great pleasure in destroying mortals through temptation.
Same.
These creatures are among the few demons to offer their service to creatures foolish enough to summon them. Although Glabrezus are devastating in combat, they prefer to tempt victims into ruin, using power or wealth as a lure. Engaging in guile, trickery, and evil bargains, a Glabrezu hoards riches that it uses to fulfill promises to short-sighted summoners and weak-willed mortals. However, if its attempts to entice or deceive fail, a Glabrezu has the strength to fight and win, so its power level is quite high.
According to this book, it's 9.
Yes, his power level 9.
That's not very good.
No. Yeah. So this guy, that tells you what you gotta know with this guy. This guy kind of wants to mess with you a little bit, and he's big too. So,
And he's also big.
he's also big as fucking balls.
He's also got a wicked claw.
Yeah.
So, with all that said and done, will we jump into the stat block? Because it's actually pretty short.
We might as well. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so Glabrezu, large fiend, demon, chaotic evil. So everything we've come to expect from demons at this stage.
Yep.
It has 17 natural armor, which is pretty good, given especially its size. So it'll at that level, people will miss occasionally, but they will they'll probably hit on a 10. So if they roll under a 10, they might miss, but otherwise they're probably fine. So then 157 hit points, which is fine.
Yeah.
I still yeah.
That sounds, fine.
Yeah, I mean, for a 9th level party, I don't think it's actually a very large amount, but anyway.
Yeah, 4 level 9 characters, I'd say they would get rid of this guy in about 2 turns, I think.
That's actually, I was thinking the exact same thing. Okay, but it's got a 40-foot speed, which means it is faster than the average adventurer, which is good for a whole bunch of reasons, like running away or not running away. It has a really good stat line, 20 strength, 15 dexterity, 21 constitution, 19 intelligence, 17 wisdom, and 16 charisma. So it has no stats lower than a 16. Sorry, no stats lower than a 15, I apologize. And it's getting a +2 from at least from every single one of its stats, which is very good.
Saving throw, strength +9, constitution +9, wisdom +7, charisma +7. Damage resistance, cold, fire, lightning, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical weapons. Damage immunities, poison. Condition immunities, poisoned. So I think they all have those resistances and immunities and stuff. All the demons, I mean.
Yeah.
Senses true sight 120 feet. Past perception 13. Language is abyssal and telepathy 120 feet. Challenge rating 9, 500 experience points. I cannot say telepathy. I think there's like someone's going to put together a cut of times on this show where I try to say that word.
Tim, please. Tim, if you've got the time and the energy, please.
Oh man.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yes. So he's
and it's
resistant
5,000 experience points, not 500, by the way.
No, man, 500. You get in my games. You get
500.
Yes. Very sorry. Challenge rating 9, 5,000 experience points.
Wow.
But if you want to be mean, give him 500.
Give them a tenth.
Yeah, give him a tenth of that for beating this big guy. Cool.
Oh, you just didn't do it the right way. Sorry, guys. You would have got more if you'd done it right.
Sorry, you should have brought your 10-foot pole.
Obviously.
Innate
spell casting. So it can cast the following spells for free, Gandalf.
Wow. I'll give you some spells for free, Gandalf. From my own pocket.
I'm losing money on this. Yeah, so it can cast the following spells requiring no material components. It can cast at will, darkness, detect magic, and dispel magic. Dispel magic is a big one. And then once a day each, it can cast confusion. It can fly. Sorry, that's just funny to me for some reason. It can cast confusion, fly, or power word stun, which is a very good spell. And very high level, actually. Once.
Well, only once per day.
Only once.
And he has magic resistance. The Glabrezu has advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. Yeah.
Fucking
cool.
imagine.
Actions. He's got some actions. Like
no, he
regular
doesn't.
months. Shit. Okay.
I'm sorry. Please.
That's all right. It's fine. We don't have to do a podcast today. We can just... This block is empty. Nothing's on it. Cool.
I swear, officer, there's nothing here.
It's an empty page. It's just, for some reason, they put a page with nothing on it in this book.
Damn,
sorry, guys.
Me.
I guess for this episode, we just have to sit down and look at the wall.
We just have to talk amongst ourselves, I guess.
Yeah, today, there's no such thing as a free class, though, Daniel. Come on. What are you talking about?
Oh, you're right. Take out your homework.
Take out your homework, dude. Finish that up, then. Multi-attack. The Glabrezu has 4 attacks, 2 with its pincers, 2 with its fists.
Just like the picture.
Just like the picture, yes. As you can see in the picture, he has 2 big claws and 2 little hands. Not really little, but they're little compared to the rest of his body.
They look little comparatively, and it is funny.
Yeah. It's very funny. Alternatively, it makes 2 attacks with its pincers and casts 1 spell. Interesting.
That's real good.
Yeah, that's very good. So he has a pincer attack, melee weapon attack, +9 to hit, reach 10 feet, 1 target, hit 16 damage, or 2d10 plus 5 bludgeoning damage. If the target is a medium or smaller creature, it is grappled, escape, DC 15. The Glabrezu has 2 pincers, each of which can grapple only 1 target. Okay, so you can only target with the pincer, and it kind of, I can picture it like grabbing onto you, or like grabbing your neck.
He's just holding the 2 of them and waving them around and then punching people with his tiny fist.
Speaking of which, fist, melee weapon attack, +9 to hit, reach 5 feet, not as big because they're tiny hands, 1 target, hit 7, 2d4 +2 bludgeoning damage. So yeah, that's pretty.
That is so weird.
Yeah.
So yeah. So this is the interesting part, right? Have you noticed his fists are 2d4 +2, but his strength is +5? So his fists are using his Dex mod for damage.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Isn't that weird?
It's like he's a monk or something. He's part monk. He's using the unarmed strike with from a monk.
But like the weirdest part is like they use the strength mod for the to hit roll, because it's +9 to hit, because otherwise it would be +6 to hit. But it's +9 to hit, which is using the strength mod, but then it's +2 to damage. So like that's so, I don't know. That's just really funny to me. I wonder why they made that decision.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Maybe because his arms are tiny and thin.
I guess that's why. But like, when you think about the fact that he's a CR9 monster, like 7 bludgeoning damage is it's just nothing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it isn't. Whereas that could be 2d4 plus 5, which is
an average of 10, which is like a lot better. I mean, again, 2d4s mean you're pretty consistently going to deal 10 damage, which is kind of dangerous in a way, that you're not going to like you could, like 2d10 plus 5 can do a low roll of like a 1 and a 3, and whereas like d4s are so small that they're kind of more reliable. Like, so, you know, worst case scenario, if it was plus 5, I guess that would mean like worst case scenario, it would always deal 7 damage, and maybe they decided minimum 7 damage was too good, given that it gets to make 4 attacks.
Exactly. It'll be 16 plus 16 plus 7 plus 7 on average, and that could add up pretty high after a while. So maybe they must have did the maths with that one. They must have like figured out like, maybe 10 damage every turn with a fist, like 20 plus like,
or they just kind of intuitively were like, that's a bit high. Because they were like, oh, because this other creature we made before does this much, so it should be in this range, so we should therefore do this. If you know what I mean.
I just love the idea, the image of him, like, because the way it says he can do 2 pincer attacks and like 1 spell. I love the idea of him attacking with pincers and his hands
and
was doing
his hands,
Naruto jutsu.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Yeah, doing the fucking like weird like Naruto jutsu or like the Skyrim fingers or whatever, and it's just like, what is happening?
Casting like a quick, don't let him throw a fireball. But he doesn't even have that much. He has innate spell casting, but
his innate spell casting is like pretty good. Because he has an 8th level spell, which is wicked strong. Because Power Word Stun is 8th level. Although at the same time, it's like not super, like of the Power Word spells, it's the most, I don't want to say reasonable, but like basically Power Word Stun is, you speak a word of power that can overwhelm the mind of one creature you can see within range, leaving it dumbfounded. If the target has 150 hit points or fewer, it is stunned. Otherwise, the spell has no effect. The stunned target must make a saving throw at the end of each of its turns on a stave. The stunning effect ends. So they can basically stop one person acting for 1 turn, and they don't get a save, which is pretty strong. But they do get to make the saving throw at the end of each of their turns, and it's only a spell save DC of 16, which is like, it's high, but it's not unfeasible. Like, you know, if they have bless, or even if they just have a paladin aura, or if they get both, they'll probably pass it on the 1st or 2nd rounds, and otherwise they might be out for a couple of rounds.
But they don't have any like direct damage spells. They're all kind of like control spells, which I kind of like, to be honest. I guess because he does damage already. He has fucking claws, so that makes sense. I got the 4E guy here. If I can just quickly compare them, really. But first of all, this guy is huge, and then the one that we have in 5E is large, so he's a bit bigger. Okay.
That's interesting.
He has a speed of 8 squares. So what is 8 squares?
It's the same.
It's the same.
40 feet,
he has 40 feet, but he also has a fly speed innately. Always the same amount. And he has 1 action point. Remember action points?
Oh my god, that's so weird. I forgot about action points.
Yeah, they're like basically, for people who don't know, action points are basically kind of like action surges, but that you would get as a fighter. But you gave them to monsters. So
it was like everyone had like 1 action surge, but then when you got to like 11th level, you got a 2nd one, and they recharged every long rest or something like that, or every milestone or whatever. Yeah.
So this is the cool thing I wanted to bring up. He has an abyssal bolt. It's a at will minor action, which would be like a bonus action.
Bonus action,
Ranged 10 squares, plus 24 versus your reflex, and it's 3d4 plus 7 damage. So once again, this is not supposed to be exactly to 5e, but he has a ranged attack that does a lot of damage as a bonus action. At will, so he can throw a lightning bolt or like a chaos abyssal bolt at you, and that's very cool. I like just giving him like a attack.
And honestly, it seems like a really, very natural fit for the creature, because it's lacking any kind of ranged attack, and it has spell casting. So if you just imagine that this abyssal bolt is just a spell that the Glabrezu knows. It's like basically the equivalent of a cantrip for a great demon or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, you can just give him like the firebolt, and then just like reskin it to look like to
Yeah, that's actually that's fair. Yeah. Like you could literally go like, oh, or you could just like, you could literally take that exact thing and say like, as a bonus action, it can do this.
Yeah,
And maybe add some. What might be interesting is if like maybe you added a limitation saying like, as a bonus action, the Glabrezu can like cast cast this, can like use this ability, but then maybe say like it can't do it if it casts a spell, sort of like, so that it like, you know what I mean, like it has to choose between throwing out like a big spell like Power Word Stun or Dispel Magic, or like throwing out these little bolts that deal a bit of extra damage. And so if it like chooses to punch people, which at the moment is like really bad. Like the punching is consistent because it has a good to hit bonus, but it's not very much damage at all. So the idea of like, oh, but if you use that, then you get to use this spell that's like another attack, and that's good because it gives the Glabrezu a ranged option which it currently lacks. And makes the creature like more dynamic. So that's cool. I like that a lot, actually. And I like that it has an action point. Sorry, go on.
Oh yeah, action points are. I completely forgot about them until right now. Like
same.
And they are a cool thing to bring in.
They are
in the 5e, I think. But
they might be a cool thing to give monsters, and then like maybe you could have something fun like if you kill a monster, you get to like take its action surge.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like in the same way that you gain experience, like someone in the party takes its action surge. Like literally.
Right. Interesting.
And it's like once off, you get an action surge. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that's cool. So he has a blasphemous word, which is a minor encounter spell, so you can only do this once per fight. And it's a psychic attack. Close burst 5.
Psychic attack.
Targets enemies. Plus 24 against will. Just think AC for that one.
Yeah. You'd make a wisdom saving throw is kind of the equivalent.
Yes. 1d12 plus 7 psychic damage, and the target is dazed until the end of the Glabrezu's next turn. So that's cool. That's kind of like going with the way that he kind of talks, and he's a bit more kind of a deceiver kind of thing. So he quite literally uses his words to fight against you. This is kind of a literal interpretation of that. And he has another one called Chaos Word, a minor recharge. It's a recharge action, and you have to roll 4 on the dice to get it back. Close burst 5, targets enemies, plus 24 versus fortitude. That's kind of like a con save, I think. I'd say,
basically,
maybe.
yeah. That's what I'd assume, most of the time.
Yeah, 1d12 plus 7 damage. The target bypasses all resistances. So, yeah, that's a pretty devastating attack. He kind of says a word that is chaotic and hell, and you guys don't want to hear it, so you kind of you're like, the heck language is in my ears, and then you fall to the ground.
An A-bomb.
It's kind of like where he does this attack, and you're like, oh, but I have resistance to this kind of damage, and then he's like, no, you don't. It bypasses all resistances, and then your guys are like, nani, and then there we go.
Is this the work of an enemy magnifique?
And yeah, that's kind of it, really. Everything else, it's all 4E stuff, and he has the pincer attacks and the double attacks and stuff. But that's kind of like a cool, because it seems like he's stronger than the 5E guy, and he's also huge and not a large. It seems like a good kind of like upgrade to the Glabrezu, I think. Kind of a nice little, just a better one.
Yeah, so, I agree. Yeah. I think for whatever reason, it appears as if the Glabrezu took like a hit in like power level, I guess, when it moved to 5th edition, because it's challenge 9 in 5th edition and doesn't have the ability to grant mortals wishes, which was kind of one of its iconic abilities. Comparatively, the Glabrezu in Pathfinder, actually, DC, interesting enough, is the same. It's also huge instead of large, and it's challenge rating 13. So similarly, it's gone up, and it has way more spells, actually. Just like ones that you kind of expect, stuff like it has like greater teleport and stuff like that, like things that let it like be a demon and show up and persuade mortals and stuff like that.
So this is probably one of the we've done this a couple episodes, but this might be kind of a great one to start with. Check out older editions and for inspiration for this guy, because it seems like there's a lot of different interpretations of him over the years, and it might be a cool way to just try them out. It shouldn't be too hard to convert them over to 5e. Just kind of maybe just have a quick little think about it, and you might find cool ideas like the Chaos Word, Abyssal Bolt, one of the Pathfinder spells. They have a bunch of different kind of spells, so maybe one of the spells he has in Pathfinder might be cool to have.
Or the kind of wish curses, you could throw them on there, because most of them, like even though the abilities are specific to obviously the rules of Pathfinder, they're very easily translated, because all they really are is just, the Glabrezu grants a wish and there's some kind of negative consequence, and realistically you don't even really need to read the rules at that stage. You can kind of just figure it out. Like, you understand the idea of like, oh, you get bestow cursed put on you, or someone follows you around and makes fun of you all day or whatever, like that kind of thing.
Or a statue of your head it comes out of the ground and he berates you to anyone who passes by. Because if he didn't have the wish spell, I think he's just another bruiser, really. He's just another,
I would agree,
bad demon. And I think giving him that extra little bit is fun. It just adds to it gives you like a reason to like scroll through the demons, go like, why should I pick this guy? Because it seems like this guy's the exact same as, not literally, but the exact same as the Balgura or the Garistro. Yeah. They're just big guys who want to kill you. Or come on, man, seriously, I'm trying to do a show here, and you have to yell fucking Bane lines at me.
Do you feel in control? I'm sorry, I will stop.
Time to go mobile.
Time to go mobile.
Oh man. Dr. Pavel, I'm FBI, CIA. I don't know what he was. Fucking Aidan Gillen.
Oh fuck! I love that bit so much. Why would you ever say that? What sort of agent is told? Just tell them who you work for. It's best if they know up front they're dealing with a fucking United States federal organization with the implicit consent of their government. Like, that's good. That's very good of you.
Do you remember when we were in we're driving through the Scottish Highlands, and we stopped in a restaurant or like a kind of a stop to eat some breakfast or some lunch, and I decided to take out my phone and go, I want to read the Dark Knight Rises transcript real quick.
Yeah.
And then oh, there it is. He says, I'm CIA. That's
he
actual
literally
thing.
says, I'm CIA.
Sorry, getting off topic right here.
Perhaps he's wondering why you'd shoot a man before throwing him out of a plane.
Crashing this plane, and then he crashes it, and they jump out of it, and they
brother, one of us they'll expect one of us in the wreck or something. Like, will they?
You're a big guy.
Oh yeah. Fuck me. See, the reason that trilogy is perfect is because Batman Begins is like a really fun and like really cool story, and Cillian Murphy does a great job as Scarecrow, and that's maybe it's good, and it's a good origin for Batman. There's a lot of cool parts to the origin story, and you get to see some scenes that you don't often see in other Batman stories, like the scene where he acts like an asshole to get everyone to leave his house. I always think that's like a really good kind of cool scene that you don't see anywhere else. And obviously then Dark Knight is like this perfect detective story, and Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker is unreal. And then Dark Knight Rises is like not very good, but like extremely funny and like very quotable for me.
So much meme potential. Exactly. It's
unreal.
I seen that film I saw that film twice in 2 days, I think, or in the same
Holy
day.
Shit.
I forgot what it was, but I think I was like, I was going on a date with a girl, and then she was like, do you want to go see a movie? I was like, yeah, sure. And then I saw Dark Knight Rises that morning with friends, and I think it was on the same day or the day after, but do you want to go see Dark Knight Rises? I was like, yeah, sure. All right, we'll see it. And then I was like, oh man. It reminds me of my brother and me bit of Travis seeing Pirates of the Caribbean and having to pretend
like so many times. Yeah.
It's great.
Oh my god.
Anyway,
that's so fucking funny. I can't believe I actually think I've only seen it once in cinemas, and I think I've only ever seen it once at all. It'd be worth watching again just to get back in touch with my inner self. But oh fuck me, it's so funny.
Might find some new memes in there. So
Dr. Pavel, MC. All right, let's return.
Pavel,
I'm sorry.
MC. I think it's a good time for dessert time.
I think you're dang right.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, so dessert time. Everyone's favorite time on Creature Club, I think. I don't know. It's a lot of
I
people's
think it
favorite
is.
time.
People say they like Monster Hunter and they like Villain Squad, and we should do more Villain Squads.
Yes, we shall do more villain squads.
We shall.
At some point.
I have a list of prompts in my phone for Villain Squads, so don't worry. We'll get around to them.
So can you spoil one of them?
I will spoil exactly one of them because it's kind of maybe my favorite. I think it's one that we came up with together, and it's just like it was just like, what about an evil corporation of mercenaries? Just to call it Bad Company.
Yeah, just Bad Company.
Just because I was like, fuck, that's so good. Such a good name for an episode.
Bad Company. Yes, that's definitely a. I'd say other ones would be like, yeah, sure, might do that one someday, but Bad Company's definitely happening. That's definitely going to be a few. Watch out for that future Villain Squad episode, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's maybe I'm totally happy to admit, like, it's a premise based on how good the episode of the name will be. And we'll figure everything else out afterwards. But
I feel like that's not what you should do that with a podcast.
Yeah,
though.
I
Just
agree.
come up with a fun name and then just go riff off that. Great. So I think that might be the longest tangent we've ever been on.
I think you're right.
In Creature Club, I'd say. Whatever.
It's because Tim's on here.
Yeah, it's because he normally keeps us on track. He
does.
He every time we finish an episode, he's just like, guys, seriously.
He finds us.
Yeah, he just like you kind of didn't talk about the monster that much, so I'm gonna have to fine you $200 for that one. And then I would PayPal him $200 that night. Like he's just that powerful.
Yeah, and if you don't do it, he sends Bane after you.
That's true.
Bane's real, and he works for Tim.
He's fucking real. The fucking character from the film, the Christopher Nolan film Dark Knight Rises, Bane, played by Tom Hardy.
Yeah. See, Tom Hardy's a character, and Bane is real, basically.
Yes.
Is the short version. I'm sorry. It's the sickness. I swear, it's not me.
It's the sickness. I am recording this, right? I am. I thought for a second, I was like, have we just been talking shite and I haven't been recording this?
Oh my god. That would be so funny. Just like, oh, sorry, we got to start over.
I guess we just had a fun conversation, and that's it. Like, for no reason.
The good news is you got most of the sickness out of your system. So then this is going to be a clean take. All right. So the Glabrezu. Let's start as we always do with the Matrix room. The blank, grid paper. The Glabrezu Pog represented by, I don't know, like a king from a nearby chessboard or whatever.
Yeah.
And everyone else has like coins or like Smarties as their Pog. Or as their kind of token on the stage.
Or someone's like can of Coke, maybe, that they had there. They're like, I'm finished with this. You can put that down. You can use this. So, what do we think of the fight with the Glabrezu with no kind of external factors? Or environmental factors is maybe the best word. We talked about this. It was a line we just said recently when we're reading through this. Well, not recently, a few minutes ago. That if we were doing it as the challenge rating says, let's say 4 level 9 characters against this guy, the encounter would last probably about 2 rounds, I'd say. If you had fighter, wizard, cleric, rogue, it would definitely last for like 2, maybe 3 tops. Because he has 157 health. All right, that's pretty high, I guess. But 4 level 9 guys will get through that no problem. So.
Sorry, when you said, all right, that's pretty high, I guess, I just thought, that don't impress me much. I don't know why.
So what? You're Brad Pitt. I don't know why that tickled me so much.
I can't say. I just thought of it when you said, it's not that high. All right.
Oh man.
I'm glad I shared that with you because I think you had a lot of fun
I'm
with it.
so happy about that. I don't know why it's funny. It just happened to get me in the right time.
I get you. Yeah, it's just the right time, right place. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it'll last 2 or 3 rounds. I do think what's interesting is like probably a lot of the creatures in the demon section of the book, like having a paladin in the party is going to be a big factor because of their divine smite power, which is like they can spend a spell slot to add d8s of damage, and they get an extra d8 if it's a fiend or an undead, I think is the wording.
I think so, yeah.
At least that's what I remember from having read it off the top of my head. But broadly speaking, the important factor is that they can deal more damage to demons, and also a lot of them have, depending on your subclass, a lot of them have features, channel divinity features, like that, like turn the unholy or whatever, or similar powers that will say like if the creature is, fiend or undead, they have disadvantage on this saving throw. I know the one for the Oath of Ancients Paladin says like if they're Fey, they have disadvantage. So obviously it varies from subclass to subclass.
Yeah.
But even still, it's fair to say that like the Paladin has a lot of features that punish, like that are extra good against demons, basically.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I think that's going to be a big factor. I think actually another interesting factor will be stuff like what kind of party members they have, because like we said there, if it's a classic fighter, wizard, cleric, rogue, then like the Glabrezu can use their power word stun on the wizard, and if the wizard is then like stunned because they don't have good con generally, they're going to probably be out of the round for longer, which is more powerful.
Yeah, and also magical weapons. His health, I guess, would be a little bit bigger if they didn't have magical weapons. If your fighter didn't have a magical sword yet, or if your rogue doesn't have a magical dagger, that's a big thing.
That's absolutely fair.
That can make the encounter last longer there.
Yes, so. Yeah. Even if the fighter has a magic sword and the rogue has like one magic dagger, but like dual wields, so then like has one non-magic dagger. Something as simple as that will like reduce their damage output. And the fact that they obviously resist the elements is going to matter for fighting mostly wizards and sorcerers. Kind of less important against clerics because they tend to do a bit more like the radiant damage and stuff like that.
Yeah, but still, with that being said, I'd still have it as a boss fight maybe for
I would agree.
a little bit lower than 9th level. I'd say maybe around 5th level or 6th level. If you have a party that's bigger than 4, of course, you have like 5 or 6
I know what you mean,
party. That means he gets 4 attacks on you, and you have more than like enough party members to withstand that. 2 of them can like pincer on, so I guess when he's grappling you, he can't attack you with those pincers because he can't use those limbs.
So.
That's so he might not get enough attacks in some turns, so he might not. And also, average 16 with the pincers, average 7 with the attacks. I'd say level 5 or 6 can still, it'll be a big chunk of health. After
it'll be a lot
while,
more dangerous. Yeah,
but also it's not that much. I'd say.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah,
you're able to handle it.
Yeah, one pincer attack wouldn't knock you out of the fight by any means, and it would probably mean you'd want to be pretty sure that the party have like resistances or consistent healing. But generally, I think it wouldn't be that big a deal. I certainly think that like a Glabrezu with a couple of low-level allies would be a pretty good boss fight.
Yeah, just throw some dretches in there or something. Like just a lot of those guys or something.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, what's interesting to me is like, so the way I think that the Glabrezu like survives the fight more so than it would otherwise is like, unlike a lot of demons of its level, it doesn't have dark vision. It actually has true sight, which means that it ignores everything. So it can effectively cast darkness on itself and basically be like protected inside it from all kinds of attacks.
Yeah.
And still see perfectly.
Yes. And that can add an extra dimension to the fight, an extra bit of difficulty to and also like a bit of dynamic combat. You know, we all love a bit of that. A bit of a puzzle encounter as well, where you can't see this thing and he's hurting you. So try and figure out a way to beat him. Use your ears or put on your goggles that you got that lets you see through darkness. I don't know.
Use the Force.
Use the Force. Turn off your targeting computer. Something wrong.
But
blow up the Death Star.
So like in terms of kind of what it does during the fight, it can obviously cast darkness at will, which means that it can like constantly shroud itself in darkness so that it's never easy to target, especially with ranged attacks. It can dispel the magics of the cleric or the wizard specifically, which means that if they have any kind of buffs, it can deal with those, which is interesting because that means that, for example, like if just to compare to ourselves, DC, like our party, like one of the best things that we can do is like Stephen Brady playing the wizard can cast haste on your character, and that's really good because haste is a great spell.
Yeah,
but it's single target, and so if that's dispelled, we lose a big resource. So like it's interesting because it means that like against the Glabrezu, if you know that it can deal with magic, you want to kind of use things like bless and like divine favor and stuff that spreads out the buffs. You don't actually want to focus buff one person because they'll just lose it and then you've wasted your resources. Because it can also cast detect magic at will, so it can always tell who's enchanted and what with.
Yeah.
So it's like, if the fighter comes up and attacks it while it's in its like turn one, the Glabrezu like cast darkness on itself, and maybe like just waits for the party to get closer, and then casts detect magic and goes, oh, the fighter is enchanted with something because I can see the aura and stuff like that, and maybe have them make a check to identify the spell. And then it's like, oh yeah, he passes, so he knows it's this spell, so then he dispels it, and then it's gone, and then you've lost it, and you're still in the dark with this Glabrezu, but now you don't have haste for the bonus AC anymore, so suddenly things are a lot worse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think the main thing is like the proper timing of the use of power word stun is like really an interesting decision as a monster, as a DM, as a controller for that, because of like, do you use it early on to just stop someone playing at the start of the game, or do you use it when like the party are kind of midway through the fight and maybe lower on resources and losing a member is much more important?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those boss fights where I really like this stat block overall because it's straightforward in most places, and like it does that thing where it has spell casting, but like so this is my comparison, right? If you compare the Glabrezu to the Balgura, if you look at the Balgura, it has like once a day entangle, phantasmal force, twice a day disguise self, invisibility. I know what disguise self and invisibility do. I don't know what phantasmal force does. I'm gonna have to look it up.
It's like another he can kind of almost disguise himself as, it's kind of like a disguise self spell as well. I think he kind of projects an image into your brain and that's what you see with him.
Fair enough.
So it's kind of going with that, with the theme he has already with disguise self and invisibility, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of that sneaky theme.
Yeah. So yeah, like whereas like the Glabrezu, all of his spells are straightforward. In fairness, I don't actually know what confusion does, but with a spell name like confusion, I can probably guess.
Yeah.
And even if I get my details wrong, I know what it's there for. Like I know why he has confusion. He has confusion because he's all about deceiving people and like powerful words and stuff like that. Yeah. So like it's all part of the same theming. Like, so yeah, and I like as well a big part of it. In fact, in my opinion, the biggest part of it, he is one of the few creatures we've encountered who encapsulates his spell casting into his multi-attack.
Yeah.
Which means that when you are running him as a dungeon master, you never have to make a decision about what he's going to do. Like, or you don't have to make as many. So like rather than being like, okay, well, I'm running the Balgura. Okay, well, if I multi-attack, it says he gets to make 1 bite attack and 2 fist attacks. Do I want to do that, or do I want to Do I want to, cast one of his spells? Do I want to cast Phantasmal Force? Do I want to look up Phantasmal Force? Do I want to use the Reckless ability? Like, comparatively, look at the Glabrezu. You're always going to use the multi-attack because it's just his best thing to do. You're always going to start the multi-attack with 2 pincer attacks. And then after that, you decide, do I cast a spell or do I use my 2 small fists?
Yeah. It's a very simple, straightforward stat block, but it has a lot of things that, a lot of interesting things you can do with it, where you can cast spells to stun your opponents and to just like disorient them in general.
Yeah.
And then you do a bunch of attacks, but one of those attacks can grapple them. And then other ones can, it's simple, but it's still interesting because as we mentioned before, your players are probably going to like kill him in a couple turns. So you might as well do as much cool shit as he can before he dies. So
like what I think, it's almost like the best way to explain it would almost be like it's like a root and branch diagram where the root is much like there's only one root really. It's like I'm gonna multi-attack and then I'm gonna pincer attack twice, and only after I have rolled only after I've rolled with the pincer attacks and then hit with the pincer attacks do I even make the grapple attempt.
Yeah.
And what's nice about that is that even though you can argue like, oh, it should have a choice, it doesn't say here, right? It says like if the target is a medium or smaller creature, it is grappled, right? So you start the turn, you probably move if it needs to move to be able to hit things. It rolls to hit with a pincer, it rolls to hit with a pincer, it automatically grapples if it pincers them, and then you go, all right, well, do I want to punch twice or do I want to cast a spell? Like you spend so much of the turn not having to think about what it does that it's actually so you can spend more time thinking about like the state of the battlefield and like the motivation of the creature they're fighting and like what you can do to make this fight more dramatic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like phases in like a board game almost, where
all
right, here's the attack phase, 2 attacks. You make a pincer attack. Do you want to grapple? If no, go to the next one. If you want to grapple, if you want to do another pincer attack, do you want to grapple? No. All right, now you can either do 1 spell or 2 fist attacks, and then if you choose whatever one, this kind of reminds you of phases, really.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
At the end, you just do it again. You just do the same thing again, where you go through that. Whereas you're looking at any other monster or most other monsters, you're like, all right, should I do spells now or should I just attack with my fists? What should I do? And also that means that when you're fighting one of your players with them, if you kind of fear that the next attack might be one that severely damages or like kills your player, then which I don't see, like I only see that happening if it's like they're severely underleveled or the dice have been really bad. If it happens to kill your players, then you can just go like, all right, next attack I'll just do darkness and I'll make him kind of like kind of run away or make him like start to fly or confusion, something like that. So
even the idea that like, oh, it's a demon, it's deliberately cruel, like it thinks it's going to win this fight, so now it's going to start messing with you by casting darkness. Even though, like, as the DM, well, actually, if you just punch the wizard 2 more times, this fight will be over and he'd win. Instead, he's going to, like, waste, in inverted commas, his action casting a spell, which, like, it thinks is a good idea, but actually, for your players, it's not.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe during that, you can make him go, like...
like he taunts them. He's like, "You were fools to face me, Garzabak, the Glabrezu, first of his line, like highest immortal of this plane," or whatever. And you're like, who is this guy?
Yeah, shut up.
Magic missile. I am slain.
No,
you killed me.
Good. So it's we're fans of the block. We're fans of this stat block. It's definitely, I'd say, one of my favorite demon ones so far. I'd say I really like. I like the Balor.
Yes,
I like them all, but this guy has just as a stat block in general. It's been a very good stat block.
It's just a very. I guess it's maybe intuitive is a good word for it.
Yes, that's the word.
You feel like you know what every part does and what it's for.
Yeah.
So we've done our Matrix Room battle. I think we can agree we want to do it as a boss fight.
Yeah, I agree
Any
with that.
particular things you want to do with the boss arena?
Let's see. He can fly, so maybe have it around, the classic couple like lava pits, but with some like landings that your players have to jump across and stuff.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a typical demon fight with that one. But if he can fly, make him fly around and have just an extra movement. Have like give a third dimension to the arena at least.
Yeah, and if you think like lava or fire would be too hardcore, you could instead. This is something I did with our Christmas game. I don't know if you remember, DC. One of the arenas, the like ground floor was covered in like a smog, and like every round you made a con save, and if you failed, you were poisoned.
Yeah.
And like just because of the fact that the Glabrezu is immune to that poison, so obviously it wouldn't care if its arena was poisoned, and maybe even it deliberately cultivated that.
Yeah, and it gives a reason to use that immune to poison that we never really bring up. So like,
because it doesn't. It's damage immunities, and because those don't come up nearly as much. So it's nice to kind of say, well, actually, this whole arena is poisoned, and this is really valuable.
Yeah,
and then the dwarf who has resistance to poison damage is like, holy shit, it's happening.
Yeah, and his intelligence is 19. He's probably he's on the side of the smarter demons.
Yeah,
make him use his brain in this fight. Make his IQ 1,000 when he fights. Make him kind of fight smart instead of just making him a bruiser. So.
Totally agree. Actually, another cool thing that could be fun just to play with his pincers. You could either have it that he can, like, as a follow-up attack, he can throw creatures who he's grappled and throw it out of their players. But another fun thing you could do is that like he has like cages all over his arena, and so like when he grapples you, he like puts you in a cage, and then like the little hand closes it. What could be even cooler, right? Is like all the cages start the fight open, and so like if the Glabrezu grapples you, it like puts you in a cage, and the little hand goes up and locks the door and takes the key, and now the key is like on the Glabrezu's inventory, and like you can like pickpocket it all, like slide a hand, take the item away and run off. Like the rogue can like use their, I can't remember what it's called, the finger thing. They've got that thing where they can like sleight of hand as a bonus action. I think the thief has it or something.
And if you fail at that, he just punches you. Like he thought that opportunity attack, he just punches you.
I'm sorry, I didn't expect that, but that's perfect. Like just like fuck.
I picture like giving him a turn to lock it, and the little hand just has like a combination lock, and he's just like just trying to do the combination.
Let me see.
Like, shit. What was it again?
Actually, that's a cool idea. If you are using it as a boss fight, the fists are a very good pick for a legendary action.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted to give it 3 legendary actions, I would say its 3 legendary actions are: it casts detect magic, it moves half its speed, or it punches with a fist. That would just be my suggestions off the top of my head, because one of them is something that it wants to do regularly but doesn't necessarily want to spend a turn doing. One of them is something that's useful that gets it around the battlefield and keeps the fight dynamic, and the other one just lets it deal a bit of damage.
Yeah.
Do you want to Monster Hunter it?
Because I have a quick idea, maybe an obvious one. The pincers, make it into a spear, and then make it that you can grapple with it. Have a little pincer attack, and you can grapple people on the spear.
What you might like, DC, just because of the fact that it's a huge creature and its pincers are really big, instead of it being a spear, it could be a greatsword.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then you crack
that.
it open and, pliers somebody, basically.
Yeah. That's cool, too. Yeah. Make it into a weapon that pincer someone.
So it's a greatsword, and then you can open it up and grapple somebody with it. And then they're like, put me down. You're like, no. And that's it. That's the whole fight.
Yeah, that's very cool. I was thinking with the spear though. I was thinking it'd be double sided, like a Darth Maul weapon, with both
folds over.
The pincers. Yes.
Oh, both the pins. Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's two. Like, as in each side has a pincer on it, and then maybe if you crack it, you can split it up and have 2 short spears.
That's cool.
That's cool. Yes, great. The great sword's cool too. They're both pretty cool weapons.
I like the idea of its petrified or mummified tongue being a once ever, you can activate it and it power word stuns, and then it's just it dissolves into dust. Just the idea that you can invoke its abilities once. So maybe you take out the tongue, and like once you can cast like confusion or power word stun, and then the tongue just breaks and it's gone forever.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because the funny thing about power word stun is that it's actually much weaker against monsters.
Right. Okay.
Because all it is just you're stunned for one round, and then you get con saves to break it, and it's like, I mean, that's not a big deal. Like, if they're fighting one monster, it might be a big deal. But if they're fighting like 3 dudes and they use it on one of them, it's like, okay, well, there's still 2 dudes.
Yeah.
And it's one less dude for me to run.
I normally say like using the armor and giving it like the resistance or the immunities, but I think I said that for like every other demon so far on this demon sideshow. So yeah, if you haven't listened to them, maybe make an armor out of it, like a demon armor, and it gives you like resistance to cold, fire, lightning, and bludgeoning, or one of the above, and like immune to poison or poisoned. Because I think poison and poison don't really come up that much, so it'll be cool to go with an immune for that one. So
yeah, I agree. I think taking its eyes for true sight would be cool.
Yes, I was going to say that too. That's very cool.
I don't know if that would mean replacing one of your own eyes, which would be pretty badass.
Yeah, that would be very hardcore if you replace your own eye for a demon eye.
Yeah, literally, like, that is literally some anime bullshit, but like, it's also very cool.
Yes, it is. I'm like fucking Naruto. They do that every episode. They take someone's
everyone
eye
takes
out,
everyone else's fucking eyes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that could be kind of cool. It could even be fun to like maybe give that for free to the party, or like make it easy, like as in make it easier for them to find out that if they took the demon's eyes, they would have true sight. Maybe they learn that on the way to fight the Glabrezu. So they know that information going into the fight, and like then they're able to consider it when they've defeated the creature.
Yeah, some lore master's like, if you have the demon eyes, then you can have true sight.
Your eyes can pierce all veils, like that kind of thing. And then, you could say like, oh, it gives you true sight, and like 3 times a day you can cast detect magic. Just like something, like that. Just like something straightforward, like,
Yeah,
you can cast detect magic, but you can only see it out of your demon eye. Like, blah, there you go.
But that's like a Sharingan. That's a Naruto eye.
Yeah, literally.
But that's cool. That
I can detect their key points.
No,
it's me, Sasuke. I'm gonna do the thing where I teleport.
What?
He can teleport now.
He can, yeah.
He can do that. Boy. I love that fight in Boruto so much, where it's just like Naruto and Sasuke fighting a god, and everyone has so many bullshit magical powers. It's just wonderful. It's just
Jesus, that is such. I haven't got to that point, but I've watched that fight, and it's just so well animated, and it's such a great spectacle. I love it.
It actually is like gorgeously well animated. Like I wouldn't disparage that, but like it is legitimately funny from the point of view of like a storyteller. It's the equivalent of running a game for like 15th level players. Just the idea, like, they have so much magical bullshit at this stage that you go, he goes to attack you with his sword. Okay, well, I use my once a day reaction and have us swap places, and now he attacks himself. Okay, sure. Like, like, you don't know what your players do at that stage.
All right, that activates my feat now, where I can throw, let's see, 2d10 shurikens. That is 10.
Oh, fuck. It's perfect.
It is very good. If you guys don't know what we're talking about and don't know anime, at least watch the fight. It's very fun. The Boruto, Naruto, and Sasuke fight.
All you need to know is it's a character who we've been exposed to for like whatever over 700 episodes, getting to use all their bullshit magical powers at once, and it basically goes exactly like you'd expect.
Boruto is kind of like when you're playing. Naruto is like you played this D&D game for so long, and you ended it. And then Boruto is like making a new D&D game where you play as one of the player character's son, but those player characters come back as NPCs, and they're super high level, and you don't know why they're not the ones fixing all the
solving
problems.
All the problems,
but for some reason they can't.
They just can't.
Yeah.
For various important reasons, they can't.
That's why maybe it's fun to bring back old player characters, NPCs, but make sure you kill them off after a while. It's not good to have really strong guys hanging around. They have to die.
Yeah. Okay, so or come up with enough like planar warfare stuff that they're always busy doing other things.
Yes, definitely.
So, anything else for the monster huntering? Anything else for anything else? This isn't exactly a monster huntering, but it is something similar. If you wanted to bring back the idea that the Glabrezu can grant wishes. Something interesting you could do is say, like, there's some kind of limit. Like, instead of saying once per month, you could say, like, a Glabrezu can grant a wish to a mortal, but to do so, they have to take out their heart. And for whatever reason, a Glabrezu has, say, like 3 hearts, right? So they can grant 3. They can grant 2 wishes, and then if they grant a third one, they die. But maybe the Glabrezu then, like, tries to bargain with the players if they're on the ropes, and they're like, "Oh, if you don't kill me, I'll give you this wish."
That's cool. Yeah, that's very.
And then obviously you can either be like, "Oh, you get this wish, but it's fucked because you got it from a demon," or you could employ like the treacherous witchcraft, or you could get more abstract and do stuff like, okay, well, you got a wish granted to you by a demon, so now like the gods have sent an angel after you because they assume that you're in line with them. Or the idea that like almost like invoking the lawful nature of a god and saying like, it doesn't matter that you're a good person, you made a deal with a demon and that is an offense. That means like they'll send paladins after you now.
Yeah.
So now you have to like deal with this new threat of like paladins who, by all accounts, are on your side, have to hunt you down and bring you to justice because of the fact that you bargained with a demon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's interesting. That can add to a little bit of central tension. That can add to your game. That'd be very interesting. Or maybe when you kill it, maybe just when you kill it in flat right, that's when you can get like, I guess, a form of wish or something, where you can kind of find out. And you do that, and he's dead, and you're like, "Now your wish is granted," and then something. But it's always an evil wish. It's always like kind of like a monkey's paw kind of thing. Where either it's evil or something bad goes for you. Because he's a demon and he wants to fuck you over.
That's interesting. Yeah, the idea that like killing the Glabrezu like almost releases the wish, but it's still the Glabrezu's wish. I really like that. That's pretty cool. The idea that like you have to kill them to get the wish, but the wish is still like tainted.
Yes.
And actually, if you were going to do that, I would say give the wish to the players as an item, like a black coin falls out of its body or whatever, like when it dies, and like or maybe like literally because it's a creature from another plane, like it dissolves into mist or bubbles or whatever, and the only thing left behind is this like black coin, and maybe the players like don't know what to do with it, so they bring it to someone, and the person explains to them, oh, it's it's the You can basically invoke it to get a wish from a Glabrezu, but it's always going to be tainted by them because of the fact that they're a demon.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea, Mikey.
And that's like a fun little, I guess, piece of ammo that they have in their magic bag that they keep all their items in, and eventually they might figure out a way to use it. They might want to curse somebody. They might want to like give it to a lord or something that they don't like. They eventually. D&D is basically you getting a bunch of magic items, random shit, and then eventually finding out ways to use them throughout your game.
It's kind of like Katamari Damacy, but it's just like magic items are used to solve other problems. Like you roll up a magic sword, and then you use that to roll up a big demon, then you use that to roll up a castle or whatever. It's actually, and in that vein, in the idea of them giving it to other people, on the reverse side, it getting stolen would be very interesting.
Oh yeah.
Especially by someone who doesn't necessarily understand what it is they've stolen.
Yeah, maybe some evil bastard actually gets it somehow, and he doesn't care how tainted it is. He's fine.
They're happy to wish for power and doom the town they live in because they're just interested in themselves, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, that's cool. That's a cool idea.
Right. I like that. I think we'll leave it there.
Let's leave it there. Yeah, you're sick.
I'm very sick. I've already infected the podcast.
Man, everyone's gonna get sick now. Rightio. So, thank you so much for listening to Creature Club, everybody. If you liked what you listened, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. You can subscribe to us on whatever the hell you listen to us on.
We're everywhere, apparently.
Yeah, we're fecking on everything right now. And if you're listening to us somehow, just subscribe to us on that. If you're listening to it on a website, go ahead with that. But if you prefer Spotify, which is probably one of the most popular ones, we're actually on Spotify for people who don't know. So go ahead, look us up, Creature Club Podcast, and it's on Spotify. Give us a like, give us a follow. Go to our website, creatureclubpodcast.com, to find our episodes there. Any blog posts there. You kind of find out if we don't have an episode one week. We'll put it up there first, I guess. And you can contact us there
Yeah.
or on our email, creatureclub at gmail.com. Is that what it is? Creature Club or Creature Club Podcast?
creatureclubpodcast@gmail.com.
Sorry, creatureclubpodcast at gmail.com. You can send us email there. We're always looking for homebrew monsters and classes and weapons and items and spells. Whatever you got, we will love to take it and read it on the show. We plan to do a special. We've already done one. It was a great episode. We want to do a second one that's even. We want to do a second one that's even better. So send it on to us, guys. And we, we have other, like, we have a Twitter now, Creature Club
Yes, I was
Pod.
going to say, yeah. We have a Twitter, Creature Club Pod.
And also, if you might as well, Daniel, I'm going to put you here. Follow Daniel at Big Bread Dog, I guess. Is that your one?
That's my
Daniel.
username, yeah.
Dan, what are you planning to do every day now, or most days? What's your plan?
So I don't know exactly where this came from. I think I just wanted to, kind of be more creative and like use my time better. So I've decided to every day I'm going to look at the list of historical events on Wikipedia, and I will use one of them as inspiration for something for D&D. So day one, I learned about a successful battle in the Maya Empire that led to the expansion of King Spear Thrower Owl's territory. So I made a spear throwing owl.
Yeah.
And so today I learned that January 17th, which is the day we're recording, is the day that Popeye was first released to a comic. Back in, I think, 1923. And so, inspired by Popeye, I made a magic item called Sailor Spinach, which is basically the spinach from Popeye that gives you temporary super strength and lets you, beat up Bluto or whatever.
Yeah, so Daniel's doing that every day, or whatever, I guess whatever day.
Yeah, basically as much as I can. Yeah, I'd really like to do it every day, but obviously I might not always be on Twitter, so we'll see.
Yeah, so follow him on Twitter and join in the fun. I'd say you want to I'm going to be on it. Like Tim's going to be on it. Stephen Brady from the show is going to be on it. We're all like we just want to have a little Twitter conversation and just try and brainstorm something fun for D&D. Yeah. So join in on the fun with that one. It's going to be super. It's going to be a lot of fun. And give us a follow if in case you haven't already on that's at Creature Club Pod. And that's really it for this episode.
Yeah. And as well as homebrew submissions, just if you have any requests for, say, like villain squads or anything like that, feel free to get in touch.
Yes.
And if you haven't reviewed us, review us somewhere. That'd be great. Because Tim likes to read them out. I don't think we'll do it without him because that feels unfair.
That's his thing.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's everything.
That is everything. That is all the housekeeping for today. So thanks for listening, guys. Join us next time for something else. I have been Mikey.
And I've been Dan.
Stay cool.